One defender, £2 million, a rejected bid that might just come back to haunt Bristol City and change everything for Wrexham in the Championship. All right, Wrexham fans, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we cover the Red Dragons like nobody else. Every twist, every turn, every bit of drama from the racecourse. Now, quick reminder, Wrexham are currently competing in the Championship after that incredible promotion from League One. We're mixing it with the big boys now, and today we've got 3 absolutely massive stories for you. Trust me, you need to stick around for the last one because it could completely reshape our season. Let's get into it. First up, the youth lads absolutely demolished Swindon Town 6-0 in the PDL Cup. And this wasn't just any win. 6 different scorers. Carrick Murphy got us going just before half-time, then Sammy Chesworth, Jack Jones, Julian Wiedeki-Estima, Kyan Nolan and Thomas Watkin all got on the score sheet. Proper team performance, that. But here's what caught my attention. It wasn't the goals that impressed development coach Harry Lloyd the most. It was the clean sheet. 0 goals conceded. The defensive discipline, the concentration right through to the final whistle, that's what got him buzzing. Lloyd's been raving about the attitude in training all week. After a disappointing result against Preston in the league, the lads responded brilliantly. He said the performance is a product of the work they've been putting in day after day, and you could see it on the pitch. What really stood out was the unity. Players sliding in together after every goal, celebrating as a proper team. Lloyd specifically mentioned Tom Watkin and Jack Jones, 2 lads who've struggled a bit since pre-season, but are now starting to make real impacts. That's the kind of development we want to see. And the pressing? Absolutely relentless. High up the pitch, hunting the ball, dominating duels all over the field. Lloyd called it a fundamental behaviour for a Wrexham player, and honestly, that's the mentality we need running through every level of this club. The only gutting part? Despite the 6-0 win, they finished second in Group B and didn't progress. But Lloyd's using this as the new standard, the platform to build on going forward. The future is looking bright, folks. But that's not the only news coming out at the racecourse. Let's talk about Arthur Okonkwo, because our number 1 is absolutely flying right now. Phil Parkinson came out after the goalless draw against Ipswich Town at Portman Road and said Arthur is at the peak of his career. And you know what? He's not wrong. The 24-year-old made a string of crucial saves, and I mean crucial. That stop against Tuber Akpom? World class. Kept us in the game when Ipswich were piling on the pressure. That's now 3 consecutive clean sheets for Arthur, and we've extended our unbeaten run in the Championship to 6 matches. 6!
Parkinson was full of praise. He said Arthur has adapted brilliantly to the Championship and is growing more confident every single week. But here's the key bit. The gaffer also gave massive credit to the lads in front of him. The defensive unit is working as one, and that's why we're seeing these clean sheets stack up. Now, I'll be honest, we didn't have a single shot on target against Ipswich. We only had 4 touches in their box. Not ideal, right? But Parkinson was absolutely buzzing with the defensive performance. He pointed out that Ipswich have been on fire recently, and they've got £100 million worth of talent at their disposal, and they were in the Premier League last season. We went to Portman Road with injury problems, but the team stuck to the game plan. Discipline, structured, incredible work rate. Parkinson said coming away with a point there is something to be proud of, and I completely agree. Arthur's journey through the divisions, just like Max Cleworth, shows what this club is about. Hard work, development, and now performing at Championship level. That's the Wrexham way. Now, those are huge updates, but what I'm about to tell you next could completely reshape our entire season. This is massive.
Here we go, the big one. And trust me, this has everything. Rejected bids, Hollywood money, contract drama, and a potential game changer for Wrexham. So, picture this. Late in the summer transfer window, Reynolds and Rob Mack made a serious move. £2 million. That's serious money at Championship level, especially for a club still adjusting to life in this division. The target?
Bristol City's Zach Vyner, a 28-year-old defender who's been at Ashton Gate since he was a kid. Bristol City knocked us back, flat out rejected it. Their CEO, Tom Rawcliffe, told the BBC that Vyner was integral to their plans and he was really happy to keep him. Fair enough, right? Every club wants to hold on to their best players. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is what nobody's really talking about yet. Vyner's contract expires at the end of this season. That means in just a few months, he could walk away for absolutely nothing. Free transfer, zero compensation for Bristol City. And they haven't sorted out a new deal. Manager Gerhard Struber came out recently and said he'd love to keep Vyner, but admitted they're in a waiting position as talks drag on. That's club speak for we're not making progress here. Now, let's think about this from Wrexham's perspective. We went after Vyner because we clearly rated him. We were willing to spend £2 million. That's not pocket change, even with Hollywood backing. When Bristol City said no, we pivoted and signed Dom Hyam from Blackburn instead. And to be fair, Hyam's been solid for us. But here's the question everyone should be asking. What happens in January? Or better yet, what happens next summer? If Vyner still hasn't signed a new contract by January, his value drops massively. Bristol City would be facing the very real possibility of losing him for nothing in 6 months. At that point, would they accept a reduced fee? Maybe 500k, maybe $1 million, just to get something rather than nothing. And here's the kicker. Wrexham could just wait. Pre-contract agreement in January with foreign clubs, or wait until summer and bring him in on a free. That £2 million we were willing to spend could be saved entirely or redirected to strengthen other areas of the squad. This is where the Hollywood money narrative gets really interesting. Rawcliffe specifically mentioned it after the window closed, acknowledging Wrexham's pulling power under Reynolds and Mack. But smart business isn't just about splashing cash, it's about timing, leverage and not overpaying. Bristol City are scheduled to come to the racecourse ground on Wednesday evening. Imagine Vyner walking out onto our pitch, knowing we wanted him, knowing his contract running down, knowing he could be wearing red by next season. That's got to be in the back of his mind, surely. Now, Struber's been diplomatic about the whole situation. He said there's not one player in the team he'd want to lose, and he's in good exchange with Vyner. But respect the process, he says. It's more on the player now. That tells me the ball's in Vyner's court and Bristol City are getting a bit nervous. Here's what the media aren't focusing on enough. This isn't just about Vyner. This is about Wrexham's transfer strategy, maturing at championship level. We're not panic buying anymore. We're identifying targets, making smart offers, and if it doesn't work out, we've got contingency plans. That's professional football at the highest level. And it shows how far we've come. A few years ago we were scrapping in the National League, now we're going toe to toe with established championship clubs for players, and we're doing it intelligently. What would you do if you were Phil Parkinson right now? Do you go back in January with a cheeky bid, knowing Bristol City's position has weakened? Do you wait until summer and get him for free, but risk other clubs swooping in? Or do you trust that Hyam and the current defensive setup is strong enough and move on entirely? Personally, I think it depends on where we are come January. If we're pushing for playoffs and need that extra bit of quality and experience at the back, maybe you test the waters again. But if we're solid defensively and focused on other areas, say more creativity in midfield or another striker, then you let this one play out and reassess in summer. Either way, Bristol City might be looking back at that £2 million offer and thinking they should have taken it. Because right now, they're staring down the barrel of losing Vyner for nothing, and that's a tough pill to swallow for any club. So, there you have it, folks. The youth team setting new standards with that 6-0 demolition, Arthur Akunku at the peak of his powers, keeping clean sheets for fun, and the Zach Vyner saga that could still have another chapter or two. Here's what I think happens next. Bristol City will try everything to get Vyner signed before January, but if they can't, Wrexham will be watching closely, very closely. This is the beauty of where we are now. Championship football, strategic transfer moves, and a club that's not just surviving at this level, but thriving. The journey from the National League to competing with clubs like Bristol City, that's the Hollywood story, but it's also the Wrexham story.
Let me know what you think in the comments. Should we go back for Viner in January or trust what we've got? Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Come on, you Reds.